Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I haven't been doing too well lately. This is a message for basically the Republicans and people who don't really wrap their head around what's going on right now. This is another prime example of how MAGA and the Republican Party really doesn't care, really doesn't notice, because they look at things like Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, The View, Seth Meyers. Oh, we don't watch them anyway, so who cares? And it's one of those scenarios where it doesn't matter until something happens to them. And they still refuse to actually see things for what they are. Number one, they probably don't even pay attention. If they're that disconnected at this point and they haven't recognized how screwed up these things are, it's probably because these people who voted for him that are still supporting him don't use Medicare, don't need assistance of any way, shape, or form, don't know many people who are on it, aren't connected enough, they're disconnected enough with reality and the rest of the world to recognize the fact that 17 million people currently being thrown off of Medicare and having all sorts of things canceled won't affect them until it's screaming in their face, until they turn on the TV. And the only thing that's actually different is a movie that they watch or something like that. But is that next? I mean, how far is this actually going to go? Now, granted, I'm not trying to doomsday say or anything like that, because I do believe this will be stopped. I do believe there are so many people working to stop this, it will stop. I just don't know when, I don't know how. But I know there's stuff internationally all over this world that are going against these people. But it needs to happen because there's a lot of problems internationally as well. So as we have it right now, we have all of these shows being attacked because they speak negatively about Donald Jackass Trump or the Republican parties. But the confusion to me is how disconnected can human beings be? Because I'm sure by now some of them have felt pain in at least 10 different levels. And if it is these people that don't need Medicare, don't need any government help, and basically don't notice, don't watch Jimmy Kimmel, don't watch, if they're disconnected enough from the stuff that's directly affected, that's because they have enough money not to worry about it. Or they're so freaking tied up in Fox News, that's the only thing ever on their station. Which will change eventually too. Probably be one of the last ones, probably not be taken off the air, but probably be reformed to, Trump's speech like 150% of the time. Kilmeade will probably be made president of the station or something like that. Anyway, or who knows, maybe vice president of the, I don't know. I know, Brian Kilmeade will end up being the, in charge of the Department of Rehousing for the homeless. That's what he'll be in charge of. But anyway, the fact that the MAGA people that are still with him must be so sheltered that the only thing that's going to affect them is when their stock portfolio goes down. They're going to be feeling that too very soon. The effects of the tariffs are just starting to kick in. We are just starting to feel that. We need everybody to come together loudly. We need every single music festival and protest that's worldwide to be reposted and put on every other platform we can possibly find. The platforms that aren't being touched, the platforms that aren't up for sale, the platforms that still have freedom. Chatter Social, YouTube, Substack. This is where we reform, regroup. Americans will always find a way. That's what makes us great. American ingenuity is something that cannot be stopped, not even by someone like Donald Jackass Trump and J.D. Vance, not even by them. We need to believe not only in ourselves, but we need to look at the people that are standing up next to us and saying, okay, we got to organize and we got to make sure this stuff keeps growing. And no matter how scary everything looks, we need to recognize that this is only temporary, all right? We need to fight back. We need to do this the right way. We need to put the right people in office in 2026 to make sure none of this can ever happen again. We need to make sure no matter how gerrymandered the maps, the votes overpower it. That's what we need to make sure happens. That's what we've got. That and the shoulder-to-shoulder worldwide, because the rest of the world's being shaken too. It's a scary time, and I understand that. And when we're looking at the people still backing him, it's more infuriating than ever. But the disconnect, the idiocy, the inhumanity of people that can actually watch this stuff happen and be okay with it, either are so rich it doesn't matter because they're the ones in the 1%, or they're just really don't give a shit about anyone but themselves. And that'll only go so far, because eventually when they have a health problem, they need a hospital, they'll go to the hospital that's close to them, and if it's lucky enough for it not to be closed down, then they'll understand that, you know, hey, that's great, but why is there an extra 5,000 people here and I have to wait 2 days? Well, because the other 10 hospitals in the state were closed down. Things like that. Someday, they will recognize it. And their portfolios will follow everything else down the fucking toilet. That doesn't do anything for us, the 99%. But in a little tiny small back of my mind, the pain that I imagine them eventually feeling makes me happy inside. Because we need everyone who voted for this prick to be louder than us. Because they were lied to that much and they fell for it that much, and they're the reason this has happened. Do I wish pain on anybody? Them, Dumpy himself, Charlie Kirk, anyone like that? No, I don't. Because I'm an American and I care about the other Americans in this country, and I care about how America treats the rest of the world. But that's me. I guess now more than ever, it's important for us to be unified. Now more than ever, it's important on us to support each other and help each other. And use this American ingenuity that we know we all have and what America's supposed to be. Start rebuilding it within our own communities. Shut out the government like the rest of the world is, and make it work any other way we can. Because that's what we're good at. That's what makes America what it should be. The ability to help people beyond all obstacles. Now it's just helping ourselves and the rest of the world at the same time. We need to stay strong. We cannot let this take us down. We cannot let this make us give up. We cannot let this make us feel helpless and hopeless. Because then they win. They won't win. Because the 99% will always be stronger than the 1%. We just need to unify even stronger, stand even taller, shout even louder, and fight even harder. Stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. Because we are all in this together. And they will recognize that eventually. Because it will hit them real hard about what they care about the most. Which obviously is just money and themselves. God bless.